Jones ran his church on progressive ideals. The congregation was racially integrated, provided free meals and legal aid, offered substance rehabilitation, and created homes for the elderly, while Jones advocated for racial equality and socialist ideals. That part I don't agree with. The socialist ideals. In 1965, Jones moved the group to Northern Carolina and subsequently relocated to San Francisco with his charming personality. Jones became highly popular, not just among members, but with politicians too. So, not just among his members, but he was big with these people right here. I don't say who it was, but obviously we can see it says, as he was able to persuade people to vote for Democratic political candidates. So he's not just a pastor. He is also somebody that's within the political realm as well. And he, pushes people to vote for Democratic political candidates. Now look here, I'm not one to tell anyone what to do with their life, but if you're a Bible believer, I personally believe you should have nothing to do with what goes on in the political realm, because Jesus says in the Bible, render unto Caesar what is Caesar, render unto God what is God's. Now, this is the People's Temple logo, and I just want to say this. This is not a Christian symbol. First of all, we shouldn't be using symbols anyway within Christianity. The only symbol that we can relate to is the cross. Reason being is because that cross was a symbol of death in the Roman Empire. When they whipped out that cross, people got to being silent. If you was a murderer, or if you was somebody that did a certain crime and they told you your punishment was their cross, you did not want to get up on there. Let's continue reading. However, as people began to leave People's Temple, they spoke out about what was going on behind the scenes. Members were often forced to give up their belongings and frequently abused as public opinion began to turn on him. In 1974, Jones had the People's Temple moved to Jonestown in the jungles of Guyana, if I'm saying it correctly, to create an agricultural utopia. Now look here. First of all, just me personally, I can't speak for anybody else, but I don't care who's telling me to do what. I'm not moving somewhere just because another grown man told me to. Either he's going to have to be somebody that's sent from God and that's telling me to do it. That's a whole different subject. Members towed along hard days at the commune and suffered from various tropical diseases while armed guards patrolled the Jonestown compound. Members had their letters and phone calls censored, and they were often required to participate in mock suicide drills. This right here is along the lines of the Latter-day Saints that was happening to those people during those times, because this has nothing to do with Christianity, Brother G. Look at this. Nothing. I can't list not one thing. And in the beginning, all that whole charity and doing this for the people and the poor and all this other stuff, that was just a cahoots. So this man put on a facade. This man acted like he was a Christian, and he really wasn't a Christian. He just wanted to get his sinister motives and agendas being pushed across and done. So like the Bible says about certain people like this, they're wolves in sheep clothing. Wolves in sheep clothing. They come to you as Christian and I'm this and I'm that, but they're really not. If you take that cloak off, you take that garb off, you're going to see that this thing is ferocious, is a beast, and is ready to maul you alive. Just like how the enemy is. Because the same way God has children of God, they're children of the devil as well. The Bible says it. Then also, right over here, it talks about the mass suicide and everything and the drinking of a certain Kool-Aid flavor that Brother G mentioned and everything of that sort. But like I said, people, this is not anything that deals with Christianity. And the Bible already talks about people like this. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. The same way you see people out there trying to get money grabs and stuff like that on the pulpit, same way it is with Jim Jones. I can't say what his motives was, but I can tell you it wasn't of God. I don't have to say too much about this group right here, because everybody should know about the Manson family and how this guy right here was doing some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. It was ridiculous. Now we're at Heaven's Gate. Now, he brought up this group as well. It says this: former University of St. Thomas professor Marshall Applewhite met nurse Bonnie Lou Nettles in the early 1970s. At the time, both of them were experiencing spiritual crises, and they decided to undergo a spiritual journey together. Let's see if it's a biblical journey. Now look here. It says this: after exploring Christianity and various New Age religions, they both had a revelation that God, Jesus, and the angels described in the Bible were actually a superior race of extraterrestrials. Where in the Bible is this taught, Brother G? It's not. You won't find that they're an extraterrestrial race and all this other stuff. Now watch this. It also says, and that in the final days of the world, these aliens would arrive in a spaceship, destroy the earth, and save the faithful. Look here. God's not arriving in a spaceship. Is he coming back to do this? Yeah. The wicked, yeah. And the earth, yeah. And he's coming back, yes, to save his faithful. But first of all, like I said, God doesn't mix good with evil. You can't mix evil with good. You can't mix truth with error. The New Age religion, the New Age movement is not of God. It doesn't teach anything that is biblical, Old or New Testament. So therefore, like I said, they mixed little Christian garment with that little, wolf's garment. And that's what you got, Heaven's Gate. It also says in 1975, Applewhite and Nettles began to offer classes on this belief system. They received more revelations. Also, they're communicating with certain entities. I'm telling you, it wasn't the God of the Bible, or it wasn't no angel. Including that they were both aliens. So these revelations that were given to them by a certain group told them that they were both aliens that had been called to prepare humans for the end of time. They took on the names Do and T, respectively, and their students were encouraged to practice celibacy. Several male members, including Applewhite, underwent castration surgeries. In 1975, the group stopped recruiting and became recluse, moving to eastern Colorado, where they believed that an extraterrestrial spacecraft would take them to Heaven's Gate. None of that is biblical, Brother G. So you're bringing up different cults and all this other stuff when the Bible says, and Jesus says, that once he departed, he knew that there were going to be wolves coming in, and they were not going to spare the flock. They were going to come up with false doctrines, bring in many seducing spirits, all types of stuff. This stuff is already talked about in the Bible. And the Bible already talks about a falling away. We already know this stuff, Brother G. There's some information right here as well. Can't read it all, but you get to see it.